Hello, excuse the way I look. I was running. I use the word running lightly, but I was running this morning, and so a thought came to me as I was running, and I thought I would share it while it was still fresh in my mind. As I was running, my talks had gotten paused or something, and so I was messing with it to get it to play, and I was like, I'm just gonna run till I know I get done with this mile, and I run this every day, so I knew where the mile ended, and I was waiting for my tracker to say, you've completed mile 2, and I'm running and I'm going, and I passed the point where I thought, wait, this is usually where mile 2 is, but maybe I'm off, maybe I'm not, and I keep going, and I go all the way to beyond where I go, and I get to a main road, so I turn around and I start heading back, and I'm like, okay, I've had to hit it by now. Like I'm tired of running, I had just set my mile, I'm running, I just set my mind, I'm running the 2 miles, but yet it just kept going and going, and finally, I just stopped and I looked at my watch, and I realized when I was messing with the tracks, it had paused my running, like tracker. So it hadn't tracked any of that. And it was so frustrating. I mean, it was frustrating on many levels because, of course, you want to feel accomplished, and the only way you can feel accomplished is if it's being tracked, right? And so even though I ran more than I normally run, but because my watch wasn't keeping track of it, it somehow seems that it didn't work. It doesn't make any logical sense, I know, but it made me think about sometimes we're in trials. Sometimes we're going through things, and we're just like, if we know where the end is, if we know when I'm going to get the job, if I know when the sickness is going to be over, if we know when this pandemic is going to end, if we just know when, then I can deal with it. But I would say almost always in life, we don't know when. We don't know that. We don't know when the end is going to be. I remember when Rob was sick, and I remember just praying, I just want to know what's going to happen. I just want to know, is he going to live or is he going to die? That's all I want to know. I just want to know that. And you feel like sometimes you're just in the trial or you're in the thick of things and you don't see an end in sight. And you feel like it's never going to end and you're going to drown. And there's this hymn that we sing, and it's Master of the Tempest is raging. And they're in a storm, and the person is saying, Master of the Tempest is raging. The billows are tossing nigh. The sky is overshadowing with blackness. No shelter or help is nigh. And then this next line is how we often feel. Carest thou not that we perish? How canst thou lie asleep when each moment so badly is threatening a grave in thy angry deep? But sometimes we feel like that. We feel like, Christ, do you not care if I perish? Do you not care what's going on? And that's exactly how they felt when the storm. Do you care that we not perish? You're asleep. You're not helping us right now. And it reminds me, in Romans, when Paul says, what shall separate us from the love of Christ? Shall tribulation or distress or persecution or famine or nakedness or peril or sword? And then in verse 37 it says, nay, in all these things we are more than conquerors through him that loved us. That with Christ he is there. He is there. But in our mind we just want to, if we know we can handle it, we know that we can handle it. We have something set in mind. I can handle this for 4 months, or I can handle this, Remember, I can handle lockdown as long as it ends in May. And then here we are, still going. I can handle these things, but sometimes the Lord wants to teach us more. I ran further than I thought I could. I thought I had to be done. But I actually ran like a half mile more, which I know isn't much. I know it's not a big deal, but I was able to do it. And so sometimes we feel like he's not there, that he's not answering our prayers. That everything's going to be better once this happens or once that happens. But his yoke is easy. And are we going to go through his tribulation? Is that going to separate us from Christ? Where we feel, carest thou not that we perish? He does. He loves us. He's there for us. And we can do more than we think with him. You may think the parting of the Red Sea is just a story, a fable, but I know it was a miracle. And I know that God is a God of miracles. And as we put our trust in him, he does care if we perish. That as we put him in our lives, that all with him, nothing's impossible. I mean, it's also hard knowing too that everything we want may not necessarily be the right path he needs for us. And that's hard. But I know he is there. And I know that he is not leaving you alone. It's us that separates ourselves from Christ. It's not him separating himself from us. So hang in there. Even when we don't see an end, I promise you that you can do this. Have a wonderful, wonderful week. Thanks.